130 Americans die every day from an opioid overdose. That's according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Synthetic opioids, specifically fentanyl, is causing those deaths. Today, it's commonly found in heroin, counterfeit pills, and cocaine. But researchers are hopeful new advances on the market could reduce those deaths. Western Mass News reporter Jordan Jagalinzer is getting answers on how fentanyl test strips are now saving lives.
I was doing heroin, or what I thought was heroin. For the most part, it's mainly just fentanyl at this point.
One 3-time heroin overdose survivor who wishes to remain anonymous is speaking exclusively with Western Mass News, sharing his battle with opioid addiction.
I was under the impression I was buying heroin. It was fentanyl mixed with oxycodone pills, and I overdosed.
Despite trying several treatment centers, a second overdose happened, and then another.
The third time, I was actually out in eastern Massachusetts. I ended up in a coma for 3 days. I got arrested, they tested the bags, that was all fentanyl as well.
He survived, but his friend didn't have the same outcome.
We had gone and picked up together, and in a bundle for drugs, there's 10 bags. I took 5, he took 5. I don't know why I'm alive, I don't know why he's dead.
The National Institute on Drug Abuse describes fentanyl as being 50 to 100 times more potent, now the most common drug involved in overdose deaths in the United States. Researchers like Brandon Marshall, Associate Professor of Epidemiology at Brown University, are hopeful new fentanyl test strips could prevent more deaths.
Even a couple of salt grains worth of fentanyl can be detected by these strips.
The test strips, made available by BTNX, a Canadian company, are being used for harm reduction to test the presence or absence of fentanyl.
There was a lot of excitement around these strips, but also concerns. You know, we didn't know whether people would use them. We didn't know how well they work.
By dipping the strips into a small amount of water with the drug dissolved in it, results are given within 5 minutes.
For fentanyl, only 1 line shows up, and if it's negative for fentanyl, 2 lines shows up. So here we can see this is obviously negative. There's no fentanyl here, so 2 lines appeared.
Brown University's conclusions not only found the strips were effective, but that participants liked using the strips and were deterred from using when they found their drug was laced.
50% of those people found at least 1 positive, indicating that fentanyl was in the drug that they planned or intended to use. And particularly among that group, we saw significant reductions in overdose risk behavior.
Marshall says the findings also bring attention to a larger problem.
And that really speaks to how broadly contaminated the illicit drug supply is in New England. You know, it can be hard these days to find heroin that's not contaminated with fentanyl.
Being able to test it and see the difference between them would have saved me at least three overdoses.
And the hope is that these strips will do just that.
This is something that we can do, that we can distribute, that can prevent those overdoses and save lives.
They do not identify all potential contaminants that might cause an overdose, but are a proven precaution in identifying the presence of fentanyl. The test strips are inexpensive at less than $1 each, or you can purchase them in a kit for $25. We have a link to the website posted on ours, westernmassnews.com. Reporting for Western Mass News, I'm Jordan Jagalinzer.